Hi folks, Larry Winget here. Sitting here with a cigar and a cup of coffee on a nice Saturday morning before it gets so hot that people melt on the streets here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm going to wait a few minutes for you folks to join me, and then we're going to get started talking about where core values are showing up in your life and how are they showing up. So we'll wait just a minute here for everybody to jump on and join me. Say howdy when you sign on so I'll know you're here and who's here. Give me a little wave, thumbs up, whatever. There's some folks getting on there now. So there's Shane. Cool. There's his thumbs up. I appreciate that. All right. The rest of you, there's a bunch of you on there. I like how people show up fast for these things. I do appreciate that. Tracy and Leon, Tom, Kevin, Al, Debbie, Sylvia. Look at all these folks. Appreciate you being here this morning. There's Douglas and Ryan and Bill and James, Sarah, Stephanie, whole bunch of folks. Good morning back at you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. There's Scott and Sandy and PJ. All right. Is that Ade? Yo? Ade? I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with that name. Jill, Curtis, Brad. All right, folks, here we go. We're going to get started. Got 50 folks on here. So, I've been, as you all know, out promoting my new book, What's Wrong with Damn Near Everything, How the Collapse of Core Values is Destroying Us and How to Fix It. I've been in New York City this week doing lots of television. I've been doing podcasts, radio interviews, and all that stuff. There's Larry and Jay and Charles, Gregory, well, a bunch of folks. There we go. Been doing all this promotion for the book. Just got off of a couple of podcasts already this morning. Doing Christian radio, you name it, I'm out there talking about the book and core values. But I posted something that I want to talk to you about. Posted it yesterday, and it says core values are not conditional or situational. Core values are not conditional or situational. You can't only have integrity when it's convenient. It doesn't count to only be honest when someone is being honest with you. It's not right to work only when you're afraid of getting caught not working. Core values reflect who you are all the time, not just some of the time. And that's what I want to ask you. Where are your core values showing up? How are they showing up every single day? Randall says, my copy of your new book is coming this week. Listen, they sold out twice on Amazon. In fact, I think 3 times. They finally sold. Now it's all back in stock. And they are shipping them as fast as they possibly can. They dropped the price yesterday by 40%. Here's what Amazon used to do. They'd bring it out cheap, hope to sell a bunch, and then they'd raise the price after time. They got smart. And they said, you know, this guy probably has fans, so he'll have a big PR push. They do this with everybody. So they bring it out at full price. And then after 3 or 4 days, they lower the price to keep the sales going. So that's what they just did. So the book went from $22 to $13. So be sure to order your copy today. This is the end of the launch week. Folks, if you like me writing books and recording books, it only happens when people buy books. So that's just how it is. If I can make the bestseller list again with this one, and it's a challenge these days, harder than it ever has been, then chances are good they'll pay me to write another book. And we'll be reading Larry Winget books for a while. If I don't sell enough books, then nobody's going to pay me to write another one, and it's going to be hard to find my stuff. Charles Ann, Sandy, Jerry Eisenhower, good morning. Cheryl and I are watching. Thank you so much. Y'all are the best to show up. There's Judy and Myron and Larry. Myron, good to see you, buddy. And Austin, Neil, Lori Ellen. So, a bunch of folks on here. Tracy says we'll help with that. I appreciate that. There's Thomas and Wendy. So that's just exactly how it works. People don't buy my books. I don't sell any books. Don't sell enough. Well, they won't pay me to keep writing the books. Let's get back to that quote, though. It's the situational and conditional aspects of core values that bothers me a lot. You know, I took a lot of heat this week. A lot of heat this week from a lot of Trump people and right-wing people. Because while I was on Fox News, they asked me about the Don Jr. thing. And I made the statement, but they weren't asking me whether I supported Trump. None of that even matters. We turn everything into politics, and not everything's political, believe it or not. I'm there to talk about core values, the core value of honesty. And I said what he did wasn't honest. Wasn't honest. And it doesn't matter whether anything happened or not. And I'm not talking about any of that. Don't go there. It just ticks me off. I'm talking about if you said something didn't happen at all, and he was unequivocal, and yet it did happen, well, that's dishonest. And I think that we have to recognize dishonesty where it is, regardless of whether it's somebody we like or support. Doesn't matter, folks. Dishonesty is everywhere, and we need to speak up about it. But we also need to practice it in our lives. You've got, as I point out in the book, you've got 1.6 million people who admit to cheating on their taxes. Something like 27% of Americans admit to cheating on their taxes. Yet if you walked up to them and said, "Are you honest?" they'd say, "Well, of course I'm honest. I never tell a lie." Really? You're cheating on your taxes. 27% of the people cheat on their taxes. Only cost the American people $270 billion. Gee. Think we could use that? Think we could do some good with $270 billion? Think that would make an impact on things? I think it might. Stop cheating on your taxes. I'm honest except when it comes to my taxes. If people talk about respect. Oh, yeah, well, I never disrespect people. I do know how to be disagreeable without being disrespectful. I appreciate that, and I think respect is the core value that shows up the most as far as being the most collapsed at this point. People don't know anymore how to disagree with anybody without becoming disrespectful and attacking them as human beings. It's not right. But let's talk to you right now about showing respect in every area of your life. When's the last time you pulled out in front of somebody and cut them off in traffic? Woo, got ugly, didn't it? Happens to me all the time. People will pull out in front of you, cut you off in traffic. Is it because they're in more of a hurry than you are? No, that's not it. It's because they don't respect you. That's an issue of respect. When's the last time you were late? People are late all the time. Some people say, well, that's just who I am. I'm just a person who shows up late. It's in my DNA. Somebody told me not long ago, it's in their DNA. Well, then you're stupid. That's not what DNA is about. You don't have late tendencies in your DNA. You don't respect people enough to show up on time. You don't respect their time. When you set a meeting with somebody, when you say you're going to be at somebody's house, and you show up late, you don't respect those people. That's making sure that you exercise your core values in every area of your life. And somebody will pull out in front of you and you'll say, who the hell do they think they are? That's the wrong question. It's who they think you are. They think you're a person not worthy of their respect, so they don't have any issue pulling out in front of you at all. You see, core values, and let's talk about that conditional part. We heard this a lot during the campaign. Well, he lied, so it's okay for me to lie. She lied, so that's why I'm lying. No, that's not how it works. People do that at work. They're on the job and say, my coworker's not working very hard, so why should I work? I'll just kick back. That's not right. It doesn't matter what your coworker's doing. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. My mama used to say, well, I suppose if they went and jumped off the roof, you'd do that too. Stop looking at everybody else. That's not how you evaluate your core values. You do the right thing for one reason. It's the right thing. You see, we're trying, and businesses do the very same thing. Businesses establish core values, and they go out there. There's Matt, this caught my eye over here. It's from my bachelor party. It's not a bachelor party without Larry Winget. Same will go for my eventual honeymoon. Well, I'm not sure you want me there on that, but I appreciate you being here today. Politics isn't at my center, nor are they my role models. Good. Max said you can't wait to read the book. Order it right now. Jimmy Lee Owen says, anxious to read it. Order it right now. I know you already have it, Jimmy. They'll be in everybody's hands quick. They're getting them out fast right now, and if you're on Prime, you ought to have it the next day probably. But here's the deal. We say we will act right if they act right. That's not how it works. We establish in our businesses core values for our business, and then we try to force the business core values on people. That doesn't work. Then you wonder why your employees are not living the core values of your business. They don't have core values. You see, when you're hiring folks, you got to hire them for their core values. When you're gathering your friends, you got to gather your friends based on having similar core values, or you're going to have big issues. That's the issue right now with pretty much everything going on in society, is that we've compromised our core values, that we let things slide. We put up with it. You've heard me talk about that here before. If you're putting up with it, then you're endorsing it. You're condoning it. Do you put up with dishonesty? Why? Why do you let people lie to you? I tell you this, lie to me one time. Be the last time we'll ever talk. I'd put up with a whole lot of stuff, but I won't put up with you being dishonest with me. I won't be lied to. I won't lie to you. That's the way I think it ought to be. But you see, right now we've gotten to the point that we're willing to tolerate just about anything, and we say, oh, that's just how politicians are. No, that's how we've allowed politicians to get. You know, employees, Larry, they'll just, they're not what they used to be. The employee pool out there is pretty shallow. You got to hire whoever you can find. No, you don't. You don't. You're better having nobody than a lousy human being working for you. We've got to start exercising core values in every area of our life. How you pay your taxes, how you drive down the road, how you treat other people, how you stand in line when you show up for dinner at their house. That's when you know you're a person that has core values that are intact all the time, not when it's conditional. Well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess it's okay for me to do it. No, it's not. It's just not. So when I look at what's going wrong right now in all of society, in education, our school systems, I talk a lot about that in there. When I look at our politics and our government, but mostly when I'm looking at families and businesses and how a business treats me, it comes down to our core values have collapsed. And we've got to start getting them back. One of the questions I was just asked on the Tom Sellew show, Megan McDowell's here, there's Matthew Simpson's here, Christine's here, there's Don with a thumbs up. Thanks, Don, I appreciate that. Sandy's here, Lois is here, Matt, look at all these folks, I appreciate it. Connie's here, there's Randy Pennington. When we look at what's going on in society, we got to fix our core values, and that was the question asking me on the Tom Sellew show this week on Fox News Radio. He said, Larry, so how do we fix society? How do we fix the world? How do we fix government? And I said, we don't. We don't. We've got all these people. We're going to fix government. No, you're not. You're not going to fix government. We got to fix our businesses. Ain't going to happen. We need to fix our country. We got to fix the world. You're not going to do it, folks. The world doesn't want to be fixed, or it would have fixed itself. But who is the government? Who are the businesses? Who make up the families? Who makes up America? We do. We do. It means we got to fix ourselves. It starts with us. You got to fix yourself first, and that's the problem. People want to fix everybody else. You don't fix everybody else. You can only fix you. And then you might have a little influence on your kids. And you might have a little influence on your employees and the people you work with, for and around, and maybe a little bit on your friends, but it still starts with you. And that's what we have to do right now, is we have to go back to our core values and ask ourselves every single day, we've got to do an assessment. How are we living our lives? How are we treating other people? Am I showing respect in all situations to my customers, to my friends, to the people I do business with, to the people online? Am I showing them respect? Am I maybe not giving them the benefit of the doubt when I should? Maybe I'm not calling them on their stuff when I should. But are we showing respect in the way we treat folks? Are we being honest in the way we do business and the way we interact with others? That's what it's going to come down to. Stop evaluating everybody else. I'm tired of everybody else. Really, I don't care anymore. I can't fix anything. I've been doing this for 28 years, folks. I can't fix anything. All I can do is remind people to fix themselves. That's all I'm doing right here. That's all I did in this book. I'm reminding you, it's up to you. So stop complaining about the world. Stop trying to fix the world. Fix yourself. That's what it's always going to come down to. Annie says people don't want to be held responsible. You're right, they don't. Nobody wants to be held responsible or accountable anymore. So maybe you just quit. Maybe you just hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself responsible. It's when we get better as individuals. Just think about this. If you decided to get better, your husband, your wife, your partner, they decided to get better. Now you've got two people in the family unit. And then you teach your kids to be better kids. And now you've got a whole family out there being better. And you start to say, I'm only going to be friends that have core values. Not that different views on things. We need to surround our people who have different views on things so we can be challenged in our thinking and have good, lively, interactive, respectful discussions. But if we started to surround ourselves and we talked about our core values, we practiced our core values, and then now we've got maybe a street, a neighborhood that's got some core values, and we stopped putting everybody down and being disrespectful when we disagreed with them, but instead we said, this is how we believe and this is why we believe it. If we did that, then our communities would get better, our school systems would get better, our families would improve, our businesses would improve. When we went to work, we would practice our core values. That's what it's going to come down to, folks. I was waiting for this to listen. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that, Wasim. There's Kimberly. Thank you. Thumbs up to you, too. Jolene. Jerry says, I can't look in a mirror. You know, none of us can. The hardest thing you can do is ever go to the mirror and say, I did this. It's my mess. I made this. I got to live with the results of it. And that's what we have. You know, I've been teaching one lesson for 28 years of doing this. That's your life's your own damn fault. And if you fix your life, you might just be able to influence enough people around you through your example by taking responsibility that they'll start to fix their own lives. And that's when you have an impact on the world. Jersey said one needs to adapt to the news situations. Even if I get better when others don't. Doesn't matter what others do. You're right. They don't affect you. You do what's right regardless of what other people do. There's Jamie. People don't want to fix themselves. Victim mentality. You're right. But, you know, we've got to show them why it's important. People will do it if it hurts bad enough. Remember, I say this every single time. Consequences drive behavior. We've got to lay out the consequences clearly in advance. But most of all, we have to impose those consequences on ourselves so we understand just what happens when we're dishonest, when we're not respectful. That's what we've got to do. And that's really what the book is about. It says, you know, and I talk about how the collapse of core values is destroying us. And I'm really clear about how it's destroying us. And then there's that little line right down there and how to fix it. And that's what really matters. And in the book, I'm real clear. We're not going to fix the world. We can only fix ourselves. That's it. I end this book, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a little teaser. If you haven't read it. And it was a parable I found. It was an old Cherokee legend. And it's known as the parable of the two wolves. It says there is a fight that goes on inside every person. A fight between two wolves. One wolf is evil and angry. It's full of resentment and pride and arrogance, lies, meanness and ego. The other wolf is full of love and peace and joy, humility, kindness, generosity, truth and compassion. Think about that. Two wolves inside of you. Two very different wolves. One's evil, one's full of love. Which wolf wins the fight? That's the question. Which wolf wins the fight? The answer, the wolf you feed. Which wolf are you feeding in your life? Are you feeding the wolf that's angry and evil, or are you feeding the one that's honest, has core values, compassion, and love? I think too often we end up feeding the wrong wolf, and then we wonder why we are the way we are. Folks, we can fix this thing. You can fix it within yourself. And enough of us do that, we can turn things around when enough of us do that. Hey, again, not a big commercial today. I'm at the end of my launch week. I'd appreciate it if you haven't bought the book yet. Please go out and buy What's Wrong with Damn Near Everything. It's on sale right now on Amazon for $13-something bucks. With Prime, you can have it in a day or so. And so there you go. I really appreciate you watching me here today. Share this if you would. I think people need to hear this message. Not because I said it, because it's a message that just needs to be heard. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'm going to sign off. Y'all enjoy your Saturday. I appreciate it. Thank everybody for being here. Thank you.